What's good, guys? It's Moath MMA here today, and today I'm going to be talking about why it's actually best that Merab reclaims the belt in the trilogy this summer. As said before, the truth is that it's actually best Merab wins, and here's why. First of all, I'm going to start with the fact that Merab is more entertaining. His wins are generally more dominant, and when Merab beats the best of the best, he absolutely dominates them, and it's like clear to see. As far as when Petr Yan actually beats the best of the best or other contenders, it's not that eventful. Like, with an exception of UFC 323, his last fight, because he totally did fuck Merab up. But appreciating Petr Yan's skills and wins, it takes fight IQ. Like, you have to either be experienced or, you've watched tons of fights and you know a lot about how fighting works and whatever like that to actually appreciate how clever he is. But someone who doesn't even watch any MMA, UFC, or boxing, kickboxing, they could be totally entertained by Merab's fights or whatever like that. But Petr Yan, as far as his fights, not as entertained. So Merab is tiring these guys out. He's picking them up over his shoulder and carrying them across the octagon, doing flashy shit and whatnot. And therefore, Merab's fights really need no explanation or fighting knowledge to understand. Like, you see the domination and the clear win in real time. So my second point, I'll say that, he was a very active champion, and when he is champion, he's just a very active champion. I mean, you guys should have been more grateful, honestly, to have a champion like Merab. Because there's guys like Makhachev, Topuria, Hamzat, Movsar Evloev, and these guys are amazing talents, but, we really don't see them often. Especially Makhachev, because you guys know Makhachev will take 0 damage in a fight, and then he'll still, his next fight will be at least 8 months later, or 9 or 10 months later, as of lately. So, Merab was willing to be very active while he was a champion, and a dominant one at that. So that was actually crazy. That was something we hadn't seen before. And let's not forget, had he actually won in December at UFC 323, he probably would have fought by now. He probably would have defended the belt by now. Or let's say he would have won and he defended the belt 4 times in 1 year. He would have been the first champion to ever do that in a calendar year. And because of that, he would have maybe taken a break, taken some months off, and at least had a fight scheduled and announced by now. So my third point is that Merab is more promotable. He's at least, he speaks English fluently. All right, he speaks English fluently, and he loves to talk. He's a funny guy, and he's still humble. I've heard a lot of people, like say he gets humbled or he's an unhumble guy, whatever like that. He's a very humble guy, and when you work as hard as Merab, I mean, then you get to, talk all you want because at least you're backing it up with your performances in the octagon. And I'd say the UFC promotions, they rely heavily on like interviews, embedded content, or like, press conferences and, what the fighters post. Well, not really what the fighters post, but, English-speaking champions are, generally, if you ask me, they're obviously going to be easier to build promo around. Merab has more of an, expressive, entertaining personality to promote. It's not that Petr Yan is unpromotable, but when it comes to the media, he has a lot more of a laid-back and reserved personality. My fourth reason is that Merab is a one and only kind of fighter. What I mean by Merab being a one and only kind of fighter is that his cardio obviously is something we've never ever seen before, and he's a wrestler at that, so he's not like Volkanovski, who's using the cardio but is staying on the feet 99% of the time, or like maybe Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson was good on the ground, but he's not like Merab, like an offensive wrestler, if you ask me. And yeah, the way he uses it, tiring these guys out, taking them down, striking with them, taking them down, striking with them, just spamming takedowns. It's very entertaining, something, like I said, we've never seen before. And I don't really care if he's not getting much finishes, as long as he's not a boring wrestler or whatever like that, like Movsar Evloev. But, he's at least dominating these guys. It's very entertaining. And I'd say, honestly, if he wins this summer, Bruce Buffer should announce him because he'd be champion again. So I'd say Bruce Buffer should announce him as the one and only if he reclaims the belt in the trilogy. All right, guys, thank you for watching my first video. This is Muath MMA out. I'll see you guys later.